Presented by Progressive Insurance. My name is Shay Cornett, and your name is...
Why do you always do that? Like you're just going to say my name is Jordan Cornett.
I feel bad. I talk for like 4 minutes in the beginning and you say nothing. I'm trying to give you
what the public wants. Give the people what they want. I'm Jordan Cornett. I am the other half, the lesser half of the Cornett duo here. Doing our thing for the next 4 hours.
At least you know you're wrong. Bengals fan that lives in the state of Connecticut and works in this building. I don't know.
I'm mad at you. Because what I tweeted out after the Bengals shocked the world, the NFL world, on the heels of what we saw the Jets be able to do against the Rams. I'm a Cincinnati native. I'm a diehard Bengals fan. It's the only team that I hold down from the city I grew up in there in Cincinnati. I said, I'm wearing my Joe Burrow jersey. I'm going to get on set here for the next 4 hours, and I'm going to support the Bengals. Because I've never seen in the history of this illustrious network any personality at ESPN support the Bengals. And that's why I want to wear the Bengals jersey, and Shay goes, don't do that.
Well, it's a Burrow jersey. He didn't even play last night. I feel like it didn't make sense.
But that just shows you what's coming for the Bengals. Okay, but sure. I digress.
Well, you know, what's not coming is the Pittsburgh offense. I don't know where it went, but it was not present last night, not even a little bit against the Bengals. The Steelers have now lost 3 in a row. They fall to the Bengals 27-17. They've dropped from the number 1 seed to the 3rd seed in just the last 3 weeks. Last night, Pittsburgh was favored by 14.5 points. So it matches its biggest upset loss since 1966. It's the second largest upset in Monday Night Football history. Point is, I don't think anyone saw this coming last night. The Bengals looked like the more dominant team, the more physical team. They weren't as careless with the football. Their quarterback was more accurate and more mobile. I mean, all around, I don't even think the score reflects how much more dominant I thought the Bengals were than the Steelers.
The Bengals. You're talking about the Bengals.
I can't even believe I'm saying this either. Like, I understand this. Normally, when we talk about the Bengals in Cincinnati, we talk about chili. Like, we're talking about...
Chili is real, though.
It is real.
Look, to me, this has got to be... they try to tell us the Steelers can't relax. Try this with the A-Rod when Aaron Rodgers said a few seasons ago to Packers Nation, relax. They relax for good reason. But you're looking at a Steelers team that and a franchise and organization has to be in full panic mode. You come into that game, you've lost the last 2 coming into what was supposed to be a get-right game versus the Bengals. It wasn't their backup quarterback in Brandon Allen that the Steelers were facing for the Bengals. It was a third-string quarterback that was thrust into the starting role in Ryan Finley. Ryan Finley was able to do whatever he wanted in this game. How the Steelers started the game is the biggest question mark to me. It was a get right. It was show everybody, hey, we were this team at one point at 11-0 that everybody was celebrating. And they came out flat. They came out like they were looking past this game, like they were going to clinch the AFC North, and it was going to be handed to them. That was not the case. Bigger than that, Shay, the inability for the Steelers to run the football
remains a problem.
But they ran it decently in this game. Benny Snell gave them about 84, 85 yards in that game. They ran it just a little bit. Not enough, you're right. But it wasn't the problem. The drops from the receivers wasn't the problem. Ben Roethlisberger was the problem. How he started that game and how he played throughout that game was the problem. The 38-year-old no longer has it. And maybe the deck is stacked against him because teams now aren't intimidated by the ability to run, aren't intimidated by the Pittsburgh Steelers offensive line, aren't intimidated by the deep threats, no matter the weapons on that roster. Ben can't throw the deep ball. Ben can't be accurate in the intermediate throws. And quite frankly, he looked lost, and it looked like the game had passed him by in watching that one. The reason they lost yesterday was solely because of Big Ben.
Okay, so let's have some numbers here to back that up. Big Ben last night, 20 of 38 for 170 passing yards, 1 passing touchdown, 1 interception. He was 1 of 12 on passes thrown 10 or more yards downfield, to your point, including 0 of 7 on such passes in the first half. So there were no passes essentially thrown more than 10 yards last night by Big Ben. I mean, wildly inaccurate would probably be an understatement. Did he look lost? Yes. But do I think this is who he is as a quarterback week in and week out? No. I mean, come on. You're not going to sit here. I know you're sitting here and saying he's done. It's over. I mean, come on. We've seen 3 bad games, 3 offensively bad games. Those weren't all his fault. Last night, yes, Big Ben didn't look right. But this is not who he is typically as a quarterback.
Offense lacks any kind of real explosion. He can't hit that deep ball. And yeah, you're right, Shay. At one point this year, he was getting a little bit of buzz for like an MVP. it was because of how that team was doing, how they were feasting on a weaker schedule. If you go back and look at that 11-0 start, they were able to sneak by some teams, take advantage of some teams that are good now that were struggling then, and quite frankly, beat some bottom feeders. That's how they got to 11-0. And that's why people should have looked at this team and said, okay, they're undefeated at this point, but they're not really that dangerous. I look at the remainder of the schedule for the Steelers. Where's the get-right game now? Where is the ability to clinch this thing? Against the Colts, when they look at the Colts this coming week, they're going to see a team that they hoped they were. A veteran quarterback in Phillip Rivers who's getting the job done, a defense that is an elite defense consistently, and a team that can truly compete
and can truly run the ball,
win the Super Bowl and can run the football.
Yeah. They're
going to be looking at a Colts team that was supposed to be the Steelers, and all that's gone. I don't think the Steelers win another game this season or in the postseason. I think you've seen the last win from the Steelers, and it came 3 weeks ago.
Okay, I will just say this, though. Can we just all put this in perspective? Like, the NFL is such a what have you done for me lately, short memory kind of league. Like, it changes drastically day to day, week to week. You're saying this now, but now if the Steelers turn things around, and let's not rule out a veteran like Ben Roethlisberger or a coach like Mike Tomlin or those receivers that they have, or if James Conner comes back. I mean, there are, and
James Conner comes back. What was James Conner doing when he was healthy?
Jordan, we had him on our fantasy team, so don't do that.
You were mad that we put him on
because he's not always healthy. He's not always active.
When he was out there, he wasn't doing it. Where I will maybe ride with you. This is where I'll maybe ride with you, that this thing somehow magically gets flipped. And I'm only riding with you because we are bound by marriage, and I'm always supposed to have your back.
That's right. You talk to him. That's true.
The only way I can see that maybe the Steelers turn this around is if you look at the rigors of the schedule and what COVID has done to this team and the position it's put them in because of scheduling. They have played their third game in 12 days. They're coming off of that. But they had a week prep for this one. And it was against the Bengals, and they looked really flat.
And a third-string quarterback.
But maybe they've hit the wall. Maybe they've hit that wall. Maybe they needed to flush this out, this 3-game stretch where 3 games in 12 days was simply too much for them. They've been shell-shocked. They've gotten that out of the system. This is just a very rear-view thing these last 3 games, and they get back to being truly tested by a Colts team that they really respect, go out there and get a win that builds their confidence back. Because you know Mike Tomlin is at his best when they are the underdog. They came into this one the heavy favorite. They are not good in that role, and it showed in this game.
Please. They have not been an underdog.
You wanted me to ride with you.
I know, but let's be honest. I mean, a team that was undefeated hasn't been the underdog in a hot minute. Okay, here's the Pittsburgh Steelers' remaining schedule. They obviously lost last night to the Bengals. Now they have the Colts at home, and then they have to go to Cleveland and face the Browns for the last game of the season. A tall task, as you just mentioned. And what's the mindset of the Steelers right now? Well, last night after the game, Cam Hayward said, I'm not just disappointed, I'm actually aggravated. Here's Cam Hayward. Take a listen.
I'm just pissed off. We just lost a damn game, and I think that's the way our team feels. We're not feeling sorry for ourselves, but we gotta get the job done.
Yeah, and you don't have a lot of time to do it.
Hit him with the Drake. What would you say at postgame?
I'm upset.
Oh, upset. That's right. Let him know, Shay. Do it one more time.
I'm upset. He's upset. I mean, it's true. And you should be. You looked like junk yesterday.
It's my favorite thing.
Absolute junk last night.
I think Cam Newton, we'll get to him later on in the show. Cam Hayward, I think he took a little bit more on than was needed. He said the defense isn't doing enough for the offense. Cam, I think you got it backwards. That offense ain't doing enough for the defense.
Come on, though. That defense.
They gave him a short field 3 times at the beginning of the game. Ben Roethlisberger lost that game in the first quarter of it. In that first half, it was a done deal. No matter what happened after that, they were playing from too far behind because of their Hall of Fame quarterbacks' inability to put them in the proper position against a bottom feeder. That defense got screwed over by an offense. Not the other way around like Cam Hayward was saying. The defense
didn't look as dominant as it's supposed to. 8 possessions in the first half.
That's fair.
Only 3 first downs
by the Pittsburgh Steelers.
So here's my question. Outside of Patrick Mahomes, which quarterback do you trust the most in the playoffs? Be a part of Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin Nation on the Dr. Pepper Twitter feed. ESPN Nation is presented by Dr. Pepper. It's official. College football's back, and so is your favorite Dr. Pepper-loving college football town, Fansville. Head to a store near you to treat your inner college football fan to an ice-cold 20-ounce Dr. Pepper today. Which quarterback do you trust in the playoffs more than Patrick Mahomes?